Hi, I'm Leon, and today I'll be reviewing the Air Warriors Monorail. This was the most requested blaster in my Air Warriors sort of Dollar General poll, so keep an eye on my community tab if you want to vote on things like this. But I'll go ahead and talk about this blaster in just a moment. Despite the look of the Air Warriors Monorail, it is not a true shotgun. It only shoots one at a time with a very, honestly, ingenious magazine system. Now, a lot of people are probably expecting me to sort of tear into this thing. And I might. But there's a couple of cool things and a couple of more recent developments that have actually made the monorail much more reliable. So first, I'll go ahead and kind of start with everything. There's only one tactical rail on this and an included attachment, which is this fantastic iron sight. Like, I would buy a whole pack of these if I could. It's a nice 2-point iron sight to your 1 point up here, and it's really fantastic. And if Air Warriors just kind of made, well, stuff like this, I honestly wouldn't mind. I'm really happy it's included with the blaster, and even though it's real easy to lose, it's a fine include. Air Warriors has kind of always done good things with their scopes, and speaking of their scopes, all Air Warriors attachments will work on this rail. They won't be the most sort of nicest sounding things to attach, but they do work. So stuff like the 1.5 Air Warrior scope on the Carnivore and the Predator, and stuff like the really zoomed in sniper scope will work on it. But honestly, the included attachment is just such a better sight that I really wouldn't change it out. Starting at the front, you'll notice this kind of orange piece, that's the barrel, but the barrel is actually only down here, but it looks cool, it's fine. So I'll go ahead and talk about the first one, which is the access door. Win for left-handed shooters, because this access door is way easier to access if you're holding the blaster like this. It's not a deal breaker if you're a right-handed shooter. You'll just have to flip the blaster over like that, which feels cool anyways. But as a left-handed shooter, you can definitely get away with clearing jams more comfortably because you can just transition. Which, hey, that's cool. You see that this white piece moves. It's basically going to clear it, so you can go ahead and put your finger in there and just kind of clear whatever jams you need to do. Honestly, it's a really nice jam door for this blaster, which is great because depending on what darts you're using, this thing will jam a bunch. I've already sort of talked about the priming grip, but I've already sort of primed it. But you can see that it is locked if it primes successfully. But if it doesn't, then it will actually let you pull back. So let's see if I can cause a jam. Yeah, like that. So I sort of half did it. And now I can go ahead and pull back and basically clear whatever jam there is. Once it locks in place, it has to fire. But interestingly, it has a slide lock, sometimes it doesn't. It's weird, but this whole thing right here is the priming grip, and it's honestly really comfortable, especially for Air Warrior standards. I've already talked about the rail and the included attachment, but you'll notice that this whole section up here is clear, which is actually pretty cool. It's a nice on-the-fly capacity check and a nice on-the-fly, oh, am I jammed yet? Kind of look. Back here is going to be the loading door. I believe this classifies as an internal magazine, but I'm honestly not too sure on that definition. Inline clip might be another word for it, but I'd honestly use internal mag. This blaster comes with long distance darts. Long distance darts just jamming this thing. They're awful. Don't do it. And a regard to these sort of more flat-topped AccuStrike style of darts. Can't use any of those either because these will be super unreliable, and I do have firing footage with them. However, I did find a dart to work that was absolutely incredible. The XShot Air Pocket Technology Darts. Which, okay, another win for XShot. I'll leave a purchase link to these in the description box below since they're super cheap anyways. But these work. So all you have to do is go ahead and load it back here, pushing in, but don't be too terribly rough with it. That was dumb. Don't be too terribly rough with it, but you can go ahead and push these in, and once it's full, you can go ahead and close it. Then when it primes, you'll hear that it chambered, and it will fire. Holds a capacity of 6 plus 1. Yep, plus 1 is possible, but I don't recommend it. So a capacity of 6 is fine. And yes, in case you're wondering, you can underload. So I'll push that dart in there. And I'll just have to sort of dry fire until I get it. It's not a perfect system, so I would honestly always load perfectly, full, which is going to be 6. And I try not to plus 1 the system, but if you are in a pinch, you can certainly try to get away with it. I haven't had very many reliability issues with the XShot darts with that, but a lot of the other darts I refuse to +1 just because they won't work. But it's a really cool blaster when it works. And you just saw it working on camera. Just to state, this is an unmodified Monorail that I've had in my arsenal for several years by this point. But only now has it recently started to get some traction because, well, the XShot darts actually work for it. I don't know what it is that's different about those darts, but if you can, stick exclusively to them. Good news is they are fantastic darts, as you'll see in my dart comparison video if you haven't seen it already. Now down to the grip. I don't know what planet I'm on, but this grip isn't like super comfortable. It's not super uncomfortable anyways. It certainly allows me to kind of have a nice sort of length of pull, and it's at least able to allow me to sort of get all my fingers on the grip. But I believe just the length of pull is a little too aggressive, especially for maybe smaller, like little kids, if you would. I already kind of have to stretch decently to get my finger on the trigger, and for trigger discipline, it doesn't feel super amazing. But regardless, I think you'll be perfectly fine. If you're a smaller shooter, I would definitely maybe weigh your odds with the Monorail, but if you have larger hands like me, you should be okay. It's not like a terrible, terrible grip, but it's not one of their best either. But Air Warriors isn't really known for comfort, so take that how you will. Trigger's fine, nice and snappy. You can hear the spring in there, and this blaster is old, so you can definitely hear it, but it's not like it's a bad thing. The fact that this blaster is maintained several years in my arsenal is honestly a good thing. So, you've kind of seen me fire it in the studio, but what if we take it out on the range? Let's take a look and see it fire.
Shooting XShot air pocket technology darts, because these are kind of the only ones that work. The last remaining light I've got left out here. This is E-Kind Waffle Head Darts. And it's in the tent.
Prior to my testing, I was going to rip this thing apart. Really was. Doesn't work with the included darts. Oh well, long distance darts aren't that good anyways. But once I started shooting the XShot darts, I honestly had a change of heart. The Monorail is so much fun when it works that I like it quite a lot. And for only $15 at Dollar General, if you're willing to spend maybe the extra $2 it is on 200 of those XShot darts, I think it's 12 for 200 last I checked, you'll be golden. Like seriously, this thing is a lot of fun. It's got one of the coolest reloads and mag gimmicks I've seen in a long time, and it's one of the times where Air Warriors really innovated with something. The good news about the Monorail is this isn't the first time it's been around. It's been included in several colors. First when it released with the Tactical Storm, now the Exterminator. Review on that soon. And second, you'll see it in both blue and this green. All of them work the same. All of them work the exact same. They didn't really change anything about the mechanisms, although I would be more partial to the newer ones, like the blue one and the green one, than the old Tactical Storm color blue and orange ones. Regardless, the Monorail I actually quite like. $15 feels, honestly, right at home for this blaster. I don't have really any complaints about it. I'm sure a lot of people were expecting me to tear this one apart. And, for the record, I was expecting me to tear it apart too. But I can't. The Monorail, when it works reliably with the XShot darts, is a fantastic blaster to shoot, and it shoots slightly harder than most things on the field. And it's super fun to just kind of have. It feels like a nice little shotgun. It's comfortable, it's powerful, and it's got something super cool. So you know what? I like the Monorail. So, if you get XShot darts, I will leave a link for them in the description. This one has got my okay. You certainly can wait for a sale. I would, honestly. But 15 feels right at home for it. I'm happy with everything. I will say one quick note. You can see at the top of my blaster right here, it is kind of splitting apart. That isn't nothing to really be concerned about. This blaster is years old by this point. But it still works reliably, functions well. It's even got a little dirt in the track, but it seems to be okay. Honestly, fantastic pickup. $15 feels good. So, that's my video review on the Air Warriors Monorail. Probably weren't expecting me to like this thing, were you? I mean, most people hate it, so can't hate that. If you like what I do around here, do feel free to like and subscribe. And if you have the Monorail, I'd like to hear your experiences with it. I know this is a very polarizing blaster, so do you hate it? Do you love it? Are you excited to try the XShot darts with it? Let me know. I did some extensive testing on this blaster before the review because I wanted to make sure I got everything right. And I knew that stuff like the Elite darts, which nobody's using Elite darts anyways, and some other darts worked with it. But I wanted to see for certain, and I landed on the XShot ones. So, hey, that's pretty cool. This blaster is found at your local Dollar General for $15, and honestly, about all I can say about it. Not afraid to say, I like the Monorail. But with that, remember, you don't have to buy it just because a reviewer told you to. Only buy really what you need. If you don't need the Monorail, or if this doesn't interest you in any way, then you don't have to worry about buying it just because I told you it's good. Honestly, that's true for a lot of things. But with that, go ahead and take it easy. And I'll see you in the next video.